All right. Got another Urban Hippie podcast, joined by Whiskey Papi as always.
Hey.
Special guest in the building today. Take that out of the Breakfast Club introductions. We got Eddie B, now Ed. Played college football with E. We're gonna get into a whole bunch, man. But super successful guy, entrepreneur.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody that I can always say that's refreshing enough to say that made it and is still the same cat that I knew back in college. So it's always good to see you, man. You got Snap Raise. It's a fundraising platform. I'm gonna let you take it off and give it a spin. But you got it 5 years ago?
Yeah, we got started 5 years ago.
So we got the train coming to take you home. Even
Yeah.
like that.
Well, something to start it off with, yeah.
Hey, over at the restaurant, you be on the desk and they don't hear it too loud. When they don't hear it coming up, then they get the little whoop whoop right in them. Yeah, it's a little coffee in the morning and the afternoon for me. But no, yeah, man, Snap Raise. Tell us about it, man.
Yeah, so we got our start about 5 years ago. This was really around the time that websites like GoFundMe, Kickstarter, Indiegogo were really getting notoriety. And so, really fundamentally, what's been really impactful in my life is just athletics, right? So, we fundamentally believe that we're going to lead better kids, better adults for the future, just through the athletics and activities that they play. And so, what we did was we really, at that time, adapted the crowdfunding model to really work well in the group-based space. And yeah, I mean, I couldn't really say it's been 5 years. It feels like it's been 5 weeks. But,
yeah. And you have one or two co-founders. I know Steph is one of them.
Yeah. So there's three of us.
Okay.
Started the company, and about 5 years ago, and it's been quite the ride to kind of grow from three of us in the back of the warehouse to over 400 employees today. Really dealing with a couple of problems and challenges. We're pretty much different. So.
Yeah, and you guys just moved into some office space down there in what is that? Is that East Lake Union?
Yeah.
West Lake? East Lake, West Lake?
We're South Lake Union.
South Lake.
We're literally sandwiched between Facebook and Amazon, and the oldest, ugliest building on the street.
Hey, baby. What's on the inside?
Yeah, exactly.
On the inside.
It's all character.
Our inside is beautiful. We are in front of Facebook, so we got a better view than they do. So.
That's what's up. There we go.
That's dope, man. No, congratulations for you guys' success, man. I haven't seen us talk to Steph in a long time, man, but good dude too. So I know you guys got a good team over there.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and you say you guys do your own podcast within the company and stuff.
Yeah, so there's a guy on our team, Matt. We have a Humble and Hungry podcast, and had some good folks on there. I was lucky to be there on myself. But yeah, it's just an opportunity for us to not talk so much about business, but really kind of talk about how we got to where we're at.
Yeah.
And kind of the core drivers and motivators in our lives. So it's just kind of a cool thing.
People want to hear about the story. I mean, they can see your success, right? They want to know about what the struggles were. So let's start this off fun, man. So I did listen to that podcast you did on it. It was called Humble and Hungry.
That's right. Yeah.
Like I was telling you earlier, and Whiskey Papi over here had the idea, take a little clip and put some music behind it for the intro.
Yeah, man.
And right when I heard it caught me, right? And so which taught me something, right? Like. Before I have to go listen to this hour podcast, let's put a nice little clip at the beginning and get them hooked. And it was a dope clip, and maybe we'll even get it in here and edit it in. But no, I like the podcast, man. So tell us about the Gatorade story over there at Central, man. Because just
a Gatorade story.
So let me take this back for us before we get this.
Where are we going with this?
You were a year older than me. We played college football down at the University of Puget Sound together. Wide receiver, safety.
Yep.
As you can look at right now, Mr. Suave over there. Before he was married and the family man and the businessman, I know we're gonna keep it PC on here for you. We're not gonna go down memory lane or anything on you, but no, yeah, man.
Did you go up together with on practice?
Yeah. Oh yeah, as a safety, I have to go against.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Safeties, yeah.
Who won some of those battles?
He got me for sure.
Yeah.
I was like, Dimitri was one of the guys that you didn't want to go against.
Oh yeah, yeah, D.
Because I was physical. So so the thing is, I had slower feet than the rest of these guys. And Stu would always get on me about it, man, because I would play safety, and so I usually would cover fours in my time, but which puts me about 8-10 yards away from the line of scrimmage. And I can't run with these guys. I'm not as quick as them. Just being, I have to be honest with myself. Mm-hmm. And he was a route runner. He was one of those technicians where, he got into his breaks lower, quicker, faster than I did. So anything beyond that 10 yards, I would just have to fucking hope I don't miss and just hit him. and especially with Stu, and Stu was the opposite receiver as you, who was just long legs and run fast and let me throw it deep, and you're gonna run under it faster and farther than the next guy around you. I had to just hit him. and he was a little quicker and shiftier, so it'd make it a little tougher, when you get to that post or the corner or something. Whereas Stu, I just got a fucking long leg and time it. But no, he was always the man, and he's one of those gritty guys. And I think, especially as a safety, you respect those guys that are going to take those balls over the middle and take those hits. And that's who he was. He was a possession type receiver where, you get him in that 10 to 15. You don't know where he's sitting down, mm-hmm. and you don't know where he's running across, and he's one of those always sure-handed guys that's taking those big hits. So for me, I was always something I respected in practice, and I think that's going to translate to the story we're about to hear from you, man. I think I don't want to put words in your mouth, and I do smoke a lot of weed or have CTE or something, but it was something along those lines. This was kind of you guys' breakthrough moment, and I don't want to say that I don't remember too much. Kind of a breakthrough point for the company. In a sense, tell us about the Gatorade trip over to Central, baby. Because it's a beautiful fucking story, and people are gonna appreciate this.
Yeah, the Gatorade trip. This really takes me back to driving over the hills there. So I mean the story's kind of a crazy one, and I think for me is really kind of the coefficient of how we got to where we were, and people ask you questions all the time about. What did it take to get there? And, for me, it's really just been hard work. At the end of the day, that's kind of the commonality across anybody that's successful in any craft. And so it's a pretty funny story. Wasn't so funny at the time, but I would imagine. Man, it was something else. To kind of preface it, I've never really wanted to give up. In that moment, I might have just a little bit. So we actually were getting going in really figuring out how we could build this fundraising platform. And so, early on, we had built it really so that we could replace, just the normal wrapping paper sales and cookie dough sales and the types of things that people do that take a lot of time and they don't really yield many results. And so what I was kind of tasked with was figuring out how we could really expand the platform and how universities can use it. And so I was getting ready to go over to Central Washington University. It was basically kind of the meeting for which we would get them signed up. I think there's the vice chancellors there, about 20 people there to take a look at what we've built and say, hey, we're gonna have you guys have built this platform for us that we could use for our fundraising needs. And so I get going early in the morning, and I was rushing out the door, so I only had about half a tank of gas. Which, if anybody knows kind of the difference between, or the distance between Seattle and getting over to Ellensburg there, it's going to take at least 3 quarters.
Yeah, it's like a 2.5 hour drive, maybe?
Yeah, about 2.5, 3 hours.
Yeah, 2.5, 3 hours.
And so I get...
Over the mountain, too, so you got to burn a little extra.
Yeah, and I was kind of moving because I needed to get there in time. And so I come over... I'm coming over if you kind of go into Ellensburg and as you go down into the valley there to the Columbia River, you kind of start rolling downhill. And so I looked down at my gas gauge and I ran out of gas.
Oh, fuck.
and you were how close? Were you like off the exit almost? Off and exit, basically?
Yeah, so the fortunate part was if you've ever made that drive, you actually are going downhill for about a couple miles.
A while.
And so I was pretty realistic at that point, so my mind started running on like what my next move was. Lucky enough, I had actually coasted for about 2 miles and got to the off-ramp. And so I got up to the top of the off-ramp and completely out of gas. And so at this time, basically pulled over on the side of the road, and my phone just starts blowing up. right? Because I'm supposed to be there for the meeting. And the car flies by me, and I'm there in my suit, basically just sweating, figuring out how I'm gonna get this done. And so there's a gas station I could see that was probably about a mile away. And as I kind of told you before, you know, when I was in college playing football with Dimitri, I was about 175 pounds. And, you know, building product and writing code, you know, put on, you know, a few pounds. And so it was not in the same shape.
It was a longer mile than it was in college.
Yeah, it was like 5 miles, man.
Was it 5 miles there?
No, it felt like 5.
Oh, I was about to say.
Yeah, no.
Because you were about, what, like a mile out or so?
Yeah, about a mile out.
In a suit?
In a suit. Just
suited and booted?
Booted, but, yeah, suit I had no right wearing. And, yeah, so basically at that point, I just had to figure out how to get myself out of that situation and get all the way through. And so I just started running, you know, across the overpass to get to the gas station. It was really early in the morning, so the gas station was closed. And what I had to do to get over there was the only thing that I had was a Gatorade bottle, right? And so looking for any other receptacle I could find to fill it up.
Gatorade needs to advertise or sponsor you or some shit, man. That's a commercial right there, in my opinion. Think about that commercial right there.
I know, right?
That's a commercial right there. Well, they just got Kevin Hart. They're expanding out of sports.
Yeah,
like that. That's a nice stuff, man. Well, then down, get your Gatorade bottle.
Yeah, who knows? Maybe get the endorsement when I first started. Yeah, so ran across the street, you know, over the overpass, and that was the only receptacle I had, so I ran all the way back, and then when you open up your gas tank, you know, there's like the little depressor you gotta push down to actually get gas flowing into it. And so here I am, suit, you know, sleeves rolled up, and basically figuring out how I can get gas into the tank. So I've got one hand, you know, index finger pushing down, pouring onto that finger with the Gatorade flask.
The virgins will figure it out.
I can see it now.
We can't put this on any site. We'll have to edit that one out.
Yeah, so I made it back, but fortunately it wasn't enough gas.
Oh no! Oh no! That
literally actually just hurt me again.
I felt it in my chest right there.
I've heard this story twice.
Oh.
Third time now, and that hurt.
How long ago was this?
You didn't tell me about that.
How long ago was this?
So this was about 3.5. Humbling moment. Yeah, so I had a gas twice. And so this time I actually was able to flag somebody coming across the path. And got a gas can, ran it all the way back there. You know, luckily filled it up, and then basically it was going 70 miles an hour all the way to the school. And the punchline of the whole story, apart from depressing, was just running into that lecture hall and basically completely sweated out. My armpits are just completely drenched. And I just got up in front of everybody and I said, hey, look, this is what happened. I ran out of gas. I drove over here personally just because you guys are so important to us. And there's, you know, over my dead body, am I not going to show up here and get here? And it was kind of like a Jerry Maguire moment where, like, they started clapping. This shit never happened. Hell yeah. And so I think the cool part about it was that, I mean, they, you know, kind of being a small town and actually seeing somebody show up and be earnest. And,
yeah, that makes sense too. I don't really think about that listening on the podcast. But yeah, being a small town community, I can see where that's really going to resonate more than kind of major university in big city.
Yeah, and I think that's an important thing. That was a lesson I learned is, like, I mean, just showing up every day. And I think, you know, if you're trying to get a business off the ground and you're trying to get those initial clients on or whatever it is, get people to use your service, I think it's just being you and showing up, right?
Mhm.
Absolutely, shout out. Yeah, you guys are like creating a much different scale than I was dealing with in the cannabis, legal cannabis game. But yeah, my salespeople is, the end of the day, people just want you to show up, communicate, and keep it a bug with them.
Yep.
Don't bullshit them. Don't mess around their time. Because a lot of these people are just like you. And if you're successful, and especially running a business, you're trying to cut the fat everywhere as far as efficiency, right?
Absolutely.
So I think that's huge, man, especially in the small community. I can see why
Oh.
that actually resonated. And kind of looking back on here a second time, it makes sense. And so you guys got the deal, and
Yeah, we got
and this was how long ago? I was kind of walking around at that point.
about 3.5 years ago.
Okay.
Mm.
Yeah, that's crazy, man. And then what? Yeah, think about it. 3.5 years later, you guys are sitting there sandwiched in between Facebook and Amazon.
Wow.
Look, got the better view.
Yeah, we got
Yeah, no. So I know we were talking a little earlier. You guys got about 185 in office, and you guys are kind of pretty much all over the country, right?
Yeah. So another.
And so what are your like? What is the breakdown? Kind of like who are you guys fundraising for? Obviously, sports teams and stuff. I mean, what kind of how far does that go across? It's beyond sports, stuff, right?
Yeah. So the really cool thing is when we got started, if you ever played high school sports, right? Like Dimitri and I played football, obviously in high school. Everybody wanted to get the football team, right? Like within the space, if you sell uniforms or whatever it is, or any sort of products within high schools or within education, those are kind of the sports you go to.
50 people or 12.
Yeah, exactly.
Mm.
And so
True.
the cool thing about how we got started was we kind of took a different approach in that we wanted to actually help the underserved people, right? And so we knew that nobody was showing up at the drama club. We work with 30 different groups within the school, and so, I mean, literally we have Quidditch
You guys work with
teams.
30 different groups in school?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
That's
I
dope.
didn't even know.
That's cool.
Just in the brief stuff that we've talked. I got to see. I know you talk about arts too. That's cool, man. When you're really getting across the board like that, I mean, when you think about it, it's like I don't know how many sports, 6, 7 sports teams at school.
Yeah.
You can have
Yeah.
video with all the different colors, man. That's awesome.
Yeah, so that's kind of actually how we got our start. Is we work with the band, we work with finalists.
Mhm.
I didn't know that. That's dope.
Yeah.
That's cool. That's a great idea.
No, for sure.
And so the cool part about that is these kids with their predisposition did not actually want to go door to door and sell something.
Mhm.
They definitely would want to get onto our platform, share their biggest fans, and we were really able to build a community supporters. And now we work with everybody, but that was kind of our entry point.
I always tell people, man, like, all the concrete life stuff that you see on the news and media and shit, like, you go out in the world, you actually leave the house, and leave your work, and go out in the world and talk to people, or talk to your neighbors, go out and meet strangers, like, well, it's not that bad a place.
It's really not.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Like, I'm pretty introverted, but I'm social, however that works, and it's like, I tell people all the time, man, like, people care, like, you give them a cause, and you give them a reason to, because I mean, it's like, think about it. Like, what are you doing when you're giving, and you're donating?
Mhm.
Self-satisfaction.
Yeah.
And we know how this world is, where it can be kind of shallow, materialistic at times. And to give back, have that feeling of gratification, gratitude. I mean, to make it a business model. I mean, I think it is great because I'm sure, employing 400 people and being at the point that you are is amazing, but think about all those kids you guys are touching, all those groups that you guys are touching that are raising money and having that little extra cushion to go do what they need and have the equipment that they need. I think especially having kids now, anybody who's giving back to people, the next generation, because I mean, if you don't understand, I don't know what the, Ellen and everything on Facebook, not Facebook, but, YouTube and Instagram.
Yeah.
But it was one of those quotes is like, the man who will plant the tree knowing he will never sit under its shade has understood, something, about life, the gratification of life. I don't remember what the other was. But to think about that, and now that I have kids, and thinking about that, they're going to be living in the shade of my tree that I'm planting now, and I'm not going to be here to help them, and so I think anybody giving back to the next generation is going to take care of you someday.
Yep.
So I think to give back and to take that beyond sports even too, where I'm sure your background primarily starts at, and we'll get into comeback too, which is because I know bringing some memories back. But the reason I bring that up though is because right out of college, you guys started. Stefan was a part of that too, right?
Yep.
And you guys started. Yeah, you guys started Comeback Sports. It started out, I don't know, I'm sure it started out as more than that, but it was flag football from what I knew, and I know you guys did a bunch of sports.
Yep.
But, to see where you guys had come from a group like that right out of college to where you are now, like you said, sandwich between Facebook and Amazon, sitting on South Lake Union, 400 employees.
Damn.
I don't want to throw your age out there. How old are we? How old, baby? Put it out there.
33 years old.
We won't look at you.
Yeah, there you go. I'm 33.
Yeah,
there you go. 33.
Said, hey, get out of my pockets. But I think that's awesome, man. And to see that progression, I'm sure me and knowing you, I'm sure you don't even realize it at times. But this is inspirational for you to come, even if depending on how many people do this. But to get out there and put that story out there, and for people to look at you and kind of see that progression, especially for athletes too. A lot of the times I think the problem with, especially football players more than anything else is you kind of get stuck into that football route or sports route because it does take a lot in football. You are sacrificing more than any other sport, in my opinion, both mentally and physically. So it's tough to kind of not find reason in that. Kind of like the same thing why military people kind of go into places of law enforcement and things like that. Yep. So I think it's inspirational. To not only take your platform beyond a sports thing and to encompass instead of 6 sports in the school. Now you guys are doing 30 clubs and shit. I mean that's crazy and that's cool, man. And to see that progression, man, that's dope. So tell us about Comeback. Like what was the between you're fresh out of college. Yeah. You're like, all right, I know Stefan was a part of it. Who else?
All the ambition.
Stefan or who else was a part of that one?
Yeah, our good friend Dave was also.
Okay, Menso. Yeah. I fucking miss Danny, bro. Air Force Danny, Muskrat. I cannot wait to get Muskrat on here, bro. Think about that. Will you come back and do a Muskrat one with me?
100% do it with you.
You promise?
I promise. Yeah.
God damn it, Muskrat. When you see this motherfucker, you're coming on this shit.
Oh man, we gotta get him on here.
One of the most beautiful human beings you'll ever meet.
Oh, he's incredible.
Both brothers are cool.
Yeah. So I haven't even thought about that business for a really long time, but I think we got started just simply because we love sports, right? And so trying to figure out a way that we can organize it, and it turned into a pretty big thing pretty quickly. And I think for us it was just learning just a lot of business fundamentals, honestly. So I don't want to call it a starter business, but I think in a sense I learned a lot of things that you can't really learn in school, and you just kind of learn through experience as far as what it takes to start a business. I mean, we started that out the back of our friend's house, so that kind of that garage story, and it was a good experience and learned a lot from it, and definitely borrowed a lot of it and kind of our growth now.
So what kind of advice would you kind of give to young up and coming entrepreneurs, or not even just getting out of college, but at any point in their career that maybe they would want to stop working for somebody and try and start something of their own?
Yeah, I think what you just said there, G, really resonates with me in that when I right before we started Comeback, I graduated from UPS, and I started work at Comcast as a financial analyst. And people listen, big evil Comcast, right? And so for me, it was the realization that if I worked really hard for the next 5 years, I could move from the center cubicle to an edge cubicle. And then 3 years later, I could be in that.
Man, get him.
Preachy.
And then I could work 3 more years and then have that guy's office in the corner, right? And so that for me was kind of the turning point in my life. And I think the thing that most people don't really actually understand is that they can't overcome the fear of doing it, right? It's like you're paralyzed by this fear that there's some, and I'll be honest with you, I mean, even at this level that we're at now, and trying to figure out how we can actually scale, right? And it's a completely different ballgame, right? The skill set, the people that you have, all those inputs change, right? And there's a lot more pressure now because we have venture capital behind us, and we have to meet our number, all this kind of stuff. But even at this level, what you realize is that these are just decisions that people are making, right? Like, and the biggest decision you can make is to start. And so I think people are paralyzed by fear of failure. And And I think that's the number one thing that I would say that you don't need to be afraid of, because I mean, in the last 10 years or 11 years that we've been building businesses, you realize that that's really all that it takes to get going, right? And I mean, obviously there's timing and resources and all these things that contribute to success, but I'm a firm believer that you can make anything successful. It's just at what scale.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, that's dope, man. I think people are going to take a lot from that, too. You follow like Gary Vee at all and stuff like that?
I used to be a big Gary Vee guy in the beginning.
Yeah.
What happened? Do you still listen to him?
I don't listen to him anymore.
Uh-huh.
Not that I don't love him and, follow him on Facebook and all that kind of stuff.
You're busy doing your own thing, baby.
Yeah.
You understood the point.
Yeah,
Mhm.
his advice and his whole narrative, I think, is awesome. Was super motivating in the beginning, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he was like the motivator guy that would say "fuck" and
Yeah.
Oh, I love that.
and he's kind of unapologetic. And I live my life in a similar way, right? I'm not as you, I'm not too concerned with what everybody thinks about me on every little thing. I just want to live my life, and so I feel that. Yeah, he for me was like, man, for like the first 2 or 3 years was like, fuck yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no.
All Gary Vee.
I always tell people, man, like people like that for me. And I had a dude on yesterday, my dude Corey. And he's, I don't know, he's a lot of things, but author, he owns a little media company. He does like life coaching type stuff. He lives in Hawaii. He's kind of he owned like a nightclub back in the day. I've known him for a long time. He was from Tialu's downtown.
Oh no way! Yeah, the things that went on in that.
Woo! But yeah, no, he kind of his kind of whole thing. He did the whole nightclub scene and he lived that whole lifestyle. And eventually, like you always do in that world, you burn out.
Yep.
And he came out of it, resonated, and his parents, so his mom, I think, does real estate, and he got into real estate, and then started branching out. Now he's kind of as a life coach, but it's kind of just he's like, what I want to do is live a laptop lifestyle. He just moved out to Hawaii, and he has a serious relationship now, and settling down. And I think what I always tell people, man, is like, what do you want? If you can't answer that question, well, what are you working towards? And I think kind of like for me, like my purpose that I found out was having kids.
Yeah.
I barely, even though I lived with them in the same house, I barely saw my son for the first, 2-ish years of his life because I was working so much in the legal cannabis game.
Yeah.
And then when I, fate had it and ended up, Snohomish County ended up rezoning my facility and basically kicking me out. Which was fine because to me, as I could either move it, or I can go move on. Like I don't love this. Right, even though I enjoy it, I'm good at it.
Yeah.
I don't love it. And then I kind of decided I'm going to go move down to San Diego for 9 months. I signed a 9-month lease. My girl wanted to get the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
Happy wife, happy life.
Right.
Yep.
I know about that now. You.
I'm learning that.
And I'll wait till you have some kid. Wait till you have kid number 2. That's when it gets shit, gets real.
Right.
Yeah, postpone one. Even though it's good. I think there's 2 ways to go. Yeah, there's 2 ways to go. Either having boom boom or boom. Well, let's think about this for a couple of years. But yeah, man. No, and I got down there and I just kind of realized, like, being able to spend that time down, and then with my daughter now, who like been a year, she was like a year when I moved down there. Being down there kind of full-time-ish with them, still coming back up here, I realized, like, man, it's gonna take a lot for me to go get a 9-to-5 or go start something that's gonna really take up my time. Because and as you know, and I'm sure you can attest to it all. When you start a company, especially when you're doing something yourself, like if you're not putting in 100% in it, and I always tell people, young people too, is like if you're really doing something of value, and you don't need to be in a relationship, don't be in a relationship, man or woman, doesn't matter what you're doing, right?
Yeah.
Because if you're in a quality relationship, you are putting something into that.
Yep.
You're putting effort, you're putting time, you're making your significant other, feel love, and I know she's gonna listen to this and be like, oh yeah. Give your own advice. Heard that like 18 times since I did these podcasts. I just stopped doing podcasts. But for me, like I found my purpose was kids. And for me, this podcast thing is other than just me enjoying it, and me just kind of looking around and being like, man, I have some cool fucking friends. I know some cool people, and if, and then they know people.
Yep.
And for me, being a traveler and being overseas and stuff, and doing the whole overseas thing, and traveling a lot by myself and being alone, having to figure it the fuck out.
Yep.
And this, I'm like Gary Vee too. I swear I'm not. So you be gonna hear that fuck word. And my mom, I'm gonna use. I already got 2 texts about my language. One from my mom, one from my yaya. My mom's mom.
Wait, mom.
So it ain't gonna stop though. But I mean, that was kind of the one thing I learned. Is,
My mom hasn't said nothing yet, but I'm sure she's thinking it.
But, I think. But my point being though, like, what do you want out of life?
Yep.
And then when you figure that out, I mean, even if you don't know, like, what is it? What is the general thing? Work towards something.
Mm-hmm.
So what's up, B? We're gonna have some little E's out here, bro. You're gonna have a boy first. You got. I know you got. Let's shout out Law So Hard.
Yeah.
Let's shout out
my brother.
Yeah. I can't remember. Do you have any other siblings other than your brother?
No, it's just
you and your bro, right?
Yeah. He's talking about Law So Hard.
Law So Hard. That's his Instagram, right? We're gonna shout out. Is he single still?
No, he's
Is he in a
he's living
relationship?
with Taylor.
Oh, okay, cool,
Yep,
cool.
Yep. Yeah, he's down in L.A. and super proud of him. He's a trial attorney and is kind of building his life down there.
Oh, wow.
Really great job. So.
I should go link with him one of these days. Man. I'm not too far from him.
Come up.
Yeah,
Close to you.
I got a bunch of people in LA that I haven't like been up there once. My buddy who actually he splits time here. He's a screenwriter. He's actually he just shot the pilot. It's called 30 Day Notice. You remember the movie Failure to Launch with Matthew McConaughey and old girl?
Yeah.
Where they're having to kick him out of the house and stuff. So it's kind of based it's that premise, right?
Mm-hmm.
But they're basically going in with, and it's targeted after millennials. And like the first episode, a lot of the episodes will be with similar type thing as Failure to Launch. Where it's somebody successful, right? We're usually like traveling jobs or something, and whatever. So I think the first one was like she might be like a stewardess or something. I don't know what she is, but basically going in and stopping them with a 30-day notice, and and then the thing about the reality world is everything's either if it's not, it's like usually in the reality world, from what I've gained of it, they try it the real way the first time, and whatever doesn't kind of fit or stick, they just kind of I don't want to throw anything out there, but they Hollywood it out.
Make it up.
I got you.
But kind of hear this whole thing, and it's like that whole world too. It's like for me, it's like I can't wait to get my guy Chuck on here. So it's like now these podcasts, like I can't wait to start getting these different people on here. It's like how many people do you still talk to from college and stuff? Because for me, it's not too many.
It's not. Yeah, I mean, running into you lately, reconnecting has been awesome. Just a couple guys. I mean, Stefan's been my business partner from the day that we left school, and one of my best friends, Sam, only a couple other people. But I think that's really interesting and kind of the crazy part of what you were talking about before, as far as what's important to you, right? I mean, at least for me, the last 11 years, 12 years of my life have honestly flown by, and so I think really kind of establishing what's important for you in your life, and I mean it changes, right?
Yeah.
Over time and realizing that, and so I mean, to your point, man, I'd love to get some of those guys back together as everybody else is listening.
I know. I don't really talk to anybody about it. That's the problem. But but it's like think about it. It's like I have to PT every once in a while. Square Bear. Square Bear's up here. Seeing Square Bear fucking on the sideline at UW BYU.
Oh man.
Coaching these guys, man. It's like he's like shout out Square Bear. I fucking love that man to death. I can't wait to get him on here too. Okay.
I'm not. So my brother took him to some parties. You should ask him.
We need to get your brother on. We need to get you and your bro on here. That'd be fun.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
But seeing him on the sideline of BYU UW, he's the strength and conditioning coordinator at BYU. Fuck AJ. When he started that, man, it's like I always tell people this: if you were to walk down the street and you were to see this guy coming at you, I don't know. There's not too many big baby David or big baby
Glenn Davis,
the boxer who was just about to fight Anthony Joshua comes to mind. Big baby, I think is his name. But he looks like Debo.
He's a massive.
He looks like he calls himself Black Hulk. Right. The biggest traps in the game, bro. He's got titties on his fucking shoulders, bro. But it looks like, and when I met him back in college when we first got there, he had cornrows.
Yeah, I remember
The
that.
straight back cornrows. And I remember the first time I met him, I'm like, holy shit, he's on our team? Fuck yeah. Dope. And then 5 minutes later, I fucking heard him laugh.
Uh-oh.
No. Well, I mean, yeah. You can definitely take it that way, yeah. But it was the fact that like, oh, this dude is like a good.
He's a great
dude.
Yeah,
And to this day, PT. I was in his wedding down there in Orlando. I got off the plane in Orlando, and I felt like somebody put like a fucking wet rag on my face when I stepped off.
Just the humidity is crazy.
Oh my god! We
Damn.
Jumped in the lake out there. Like we were out in the middle. You know, we just gotten done like doing the little alligator tour. Like, you know, like the little swamps. You know, like.
Yep.
I don't know if you guys you've been to Florida.
Once. Yeah.
But yeah, they were taking us like through the little swamps, like little, you know, they got houses on like all these little swamps. And,
Yeah.
you know,
A bunch of lagoons.
yeah, and they thought I wouldn't jump into the middle of the lake because they told me like, you know, the gators are on like, you know, the edges and the shores and stuff. They're not really out in the middle of the lake.
So
Free swimming. I mean, they hopped in. I'm not getting first, but if you guys get up again, like,
Yeah.
But when I jumped in there, I was ready to fight for my life.
Did you see one?
Not out there, but yeah. I mean, not out in the middle. But yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, just yeah. No, I mean, nothing huge or anything, but a couple little ones. I saw like a baby one, or like a smaller one.
Nice.
But it's a whole nother world out there, man.
Oh, it's separate.
Yeah.
Where
yeah.
I know you've been doing music festivals lately. You guys you did Ultra today and Coachella, like basically back to back, right?
Yeah, that was never again.
That was so what's funny is because I was out there to I was actually with that my screenwriter who's doing 30 Years Notice. He's helping me finish a little book I did. But yeah, when I was like, I knew I seen you out there in at Ultra.
Oh my goodness.
On IG.
Unlike anything.
And then I remember when I saw you I was like, oh, he's at Coachella? And that's my message you actually.
Yeah.
He's at Coachella? I was like, oh shit, he's doing it.
Yeah.
He was doing it.
Yeah.
But
we love those things.
So they're so much fun, man. I mean, they really are.
I mean, for me, it's just everybody's there with kind of the common.
Have fun.
Yeah.
Let loose.
Fun and,
kind of get to skate, you know, for I think unfortunately for a lot of people I think are having to escape reality.
Yeah.
And escape their lives. And even though I may not, and you may not be in that maybe type world, but even you are. Like, even if it like, and I think the thing about that, the commonality is, it doesn't matter if you're broke and can't pay your bills, or you're successful as shit and having to deal with bunch of work drama or whatever, or just family drama or whatever it is. It's kind of escape, and it's kind of it's kind of that kind of one love type thing. A lot of music festivals.
Mm-hmm.
But so where you travel? Man, even like Europe. So I know you said you were in Greece for the honeymoon.
Yeah, we went to Greece for the honeymoon, which was fun.
Where'd you guys go out there?
So we went. Actually, for me, the coolest place we went was out in Crete.
Mm-hmm. That's like the one place I haven't been in is Crete.
Yeah, we were staying at a really cool little resort out there, and some kind of off the camera stories, but we rented a boat one day and got out there on our own, and it was pretty cool. But yeah, we did the whole Mykonos thing, and did Santorini and all that. It was just gorgeous.
It's crazy out there.
The way that some guys do it out there is, unbelievable.
Yeah. The yacht lifestyle.
The helicopters coming out of
Oh,
the
wow.
yachts, and
That's the way to do it.
Yeah. I remember I was out there meeting us one year after my season. I don't remember what season it was. But I remember I was out there after one season, and Blake Griffin and DeAndre Jordan were just walking. I just see like a group, 2 tall motherfuckers, and a group of people around them, and I just remember like, holy shit, fucking Blake Griffin and DeAndre Jordan. And then
he's a noticeable dude.
Yeah. Anybody over 6.
tall light skin.
Yeah.
But you kind of like his face,
Yeah. But they were hanging out with some like Greek.
Remember when they were at Pesos?
Some Greek heir or some shit, and they were just doing the yacht lifestyle, right? They were just hopping islands, and because I started exciting all that. Anytime I go somewhere, especially back then when I was traveling and living overseas, man, like I always tell people, man, if my roommates or teammates didn't want to do nothing, I'd go out and do it anyway. I mean, I wasn't sitting up I wasn't wasting this experience. And I think there's certain people like you're like one same type of person that I can see in that sense. Where like you're not the sit at home, do nothing type. Like you're a motivated individual, and like whatever that motivation is, I'm motivated to do something at all times.
Yeah.
That motivation changes, but that I'm always motivated to do something. That's just like I'm inherently motivated. And I think there's certain people that are inherently motivated. And one interesting discussion. Well, let me ask you this question: Are you born a leader, or can you become a leader, or a little bit of both? How do you feel about that?
I mean, I think it's both, but you can definitely become a leader, right? Because
I agree.
I think, I mean, there's inherent traits that some people have to lead, but I mean, at the end of the day, I think there's also different types of leadership, right? So,
yeah, right.
I mean, for me, from a leadership perspective, I think it's really just getting down to the core of, like what we were talking about earlier, right? Where you actually have to show up and do the job yourself, so you can kind of have that servant leadership and
servant leadership.
lead.
I know you went to the defensive court, the defensive rooms, but it's not to cut you off, man. But it's like for me, it's like one of my most fond, vivid memories from college football. Coach Mack, it was a defensive meeting room. So he would have been in the offensive meeting room when we break up the team. But I mean, you know me. So this will be a good one. How would you describe me as a teammate in college, or just as in college? How would you describe me as a teammate in college, man?
Oh man.
No, let's take this a different way. How do you feel the coaches thought of me in college? If you were to sum it up.
I would describe you as passionate, yeah. I mean,
like it.
You're passionate. I mean, you're just a passionate dude. And sometimes that passion went to the other side. And sometimes
you gotta touch the dark every once in a while.
To the dark side.
You don't know who you are. You don't know who you are until you're at bottom.
I like that. I like that.
It's certain, not even say the bad bottom, the learning bottom.
Yeah, man. I mean, as far as our coaching staff went, we had a pretty religious coaching staff.
I will never forget the day that did we talk about Square Bear's wedding? Did we talk about that?
No.
I can't say too
Yes, we did.
We can't get too deep into it, but we're going to touch on it. Yeah. But I'll never forget the first time Coach, because he said it a lot, you probably remember this.
Yeah.
The first time he said, I put my shit in the 1, 2, 3. God, family, football.
Mm-hmm.
Like for me back then, and even still today, I mean, today too. Like for me, it's just like, I don't like, it's like, this is literally the first thing that went through my mind back then. It's like, so you're telling me, if Jesus was falling off this side of the cliff, and your family was falling off this side of the cliff, you're going to go save Jesus, not your family. Mm-hmm. And this is, no way to say anything bad about Coach Willie not involved. Since then I understand it. We'll wait till we get to the wedding story. But like that, like the way I took that though at the time was like, for me I didn't understand it, right? And like for me that was just an automatic disconnect.
It was polarized.
It was, and it's like, damn, like this is a different, because my parents aren't religious like that, and I just did not grow up in a religious setting like that at all.
Yep. And
like for me to hear that, like it was eye opening. It really was, and that I'll never forget the first time he said it. Because it was real simple to me. Like, I'm saving my sisters over I'm saving Jesus.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's, it was one of those things, man. But, I mean, how would you say, like, what would you say to some young athletes who, maybe can't go the D1 route and get that scholarship and still, but to still continue to play? What do you think benefited you deciding to go and continue a life playing college football, and maybe not like D1 premier type setting?
Yeah, I mean, it's a good question because so I went to Ballard High School. We went to the state championship my senior year and had like 8 or actually 10 guys get D1 scholarships, right? So we that freak year where we built a program, did that whole thing, and so. I actually made the decision to go to UPS like really, really last minute, just to be able to play football and actually get on the field and play. And so I think that, at the end of the day, the amount of work that that you put in to play football, whether you're growing up or playing athletic, organized sports through high school, having the opportunity to extend that beyond is so important. It was super important to me, and that was actually the reason I came, right? And so, I mean, I think for anybody that's played organized sports, I mean, it's just the camaraderie and like the brotherhood we had. And, I mean, I think being able to see this guy, right? Like, I mean, even when we saw each other at Coachella, it was like, dude, I feel like we were just at, D. Sue's house hanging out,
And I one thing, I don't remember who I was talking to about it. I was talking to nobody that you would know. But I was telling him, I saw my buddy, I was telling him about snap rays and stuff, and I success plan. And I was like, I don't want to say the roommate's name, but we were talking about an old roommate. You were talking about an old roommate that you had, and they'd seen, long, plenty of times since college, and then I just kind of one time you saw him, and it was just kind of different, right? Mm-hmm. And it's like, it kind of resonated with me a little bit. It was like, because for me, it's like most like, like PT, Square Bear, D-Stew, Caden when I've seen him a few times. I mean, really other than that, I really haven't seen too many people, but but then seeing you, it was like, just like with all those guys, like every time I see him, it's like everything's the exact same.
Yep.
And then I went to Square Bear's wedding, and
you touch on the story here?
I won't get into the details of it because there's family stuff involved, but I'm very close with the two sisters. And we just decided to turn up, and we just felt that was necessary for the
celebration,
for the beautiful setting.
Yeah,
it was a beautiful celebration, and I flat earth dropped that shit, bro. I did. I fucking flat earth dropped it. I swear to God. And then the most beautiful part about it was,
did you just come out?
Coach Willie.
Oh my goodness.
Because why? Coach Willie believed, and so my whole thing, right? And this is actually the first time I really openly talk about it.
I was about to say, I think you just came out, bro.
Oh yeah, came out positive. Yeah, I did say that. But not that I believe the Earth is flat, I just don't think water bends around balls. That's all.
That's what she said.
So I had this experience with this chick. I wrote about it in this book I'm about to come out with. It's like a 99 story short story book. Just 99. It's one page a story. Yep. Nice, short, and sweet. I was just doing it as a writing exercise for the book Balling in Brazil that I wrote. I started when I was in Brazil. I wrote it when I was out there. I actually came back here. That was in 2011. We won the championship undefeated. Set the league record for interceptions, defensive MVP. So it was like my most successful season overseas. And so I was down there. I kept this book style journal. And I came back when I retired in 2014. I printed it out. It's 450 pages. And I wrote 2 or 3 drafts over the next 2 years. Then I put it down for a couple years when I was doing the cannabis stuff here. And I was about to pick it up when I was down in San Diego this last year. But I picked it up, I was like, man, I'm just I wasn't in the zone. Because writing's kind of one of those things where it kind of have to get the edge. Free-step again. Yeah. So I was like, I'm not really feeling like that. So I'm going to do a little writing exercise. I always want to do a short story book about my life, right? I didn't want to write an autobiography, right? Can't we do that in live? You know what I mean? But I wanted to be for me, I don't remember a whole lot. I talked about my first episode with my 3 brothers of mine. They're now 3 Seattle firefighters. And they're my boy Mike B, who's on the team with me, he knows all these memories from our kids in AAU and growing up and shit. I don't really remember a whole lot. I really don't remember a whole lot from college and stuff. I just don't really have a lot of memories, but I have vivid memories of the ones I do. Right. And so I was all right, I think I wrote down 32, 33 stories. I was I'll just do a page each. I'll bang it out really quick.
I gotta see this.
I'll send it to you. It's done. I
want to see it too.
I need 10 stories from friends, and I don't really put it out there yet. But I'm gonna get 10 stories from friends, basically 1 page. Yeah. It can either be a story or just thoughts and feelings. Yeah. About memories and what it is, right? Yeah. But yeah, I was like, man. By the time I was on the 5th story, I was on number 13. Because every story I did, usually 1 or 2 more would pop up. Yeah. And I just it was one of those things where I'm just the type where I can't really put something down if I started. Keep going. Even though my plan was going to do 32, 33, I didn't get to 33 until I was on 99. Right. So then I had 99. And but yeah,
I read this.
there's some good shit, man. There's some shit I want to talk about on the podcast.
Gotta pick up that
So what was
book.
the span of time? This is all college or just growing up?
Oh, just the whole night. Basically, my first memory, my first life memory was being in it was the Goodwill in Linwood. We had a little white Rambler, two houses away. And I'll never forget my dad in the front yard teaching me how to tackle. Because I had football practice, I don't know when it was. But in my mind, it was the next day. I don't even know. He prayed for, I was probably practicing for a month or some shit with my pops. Because I was like a Pete Meredith's dad and shit. Not after that, but well, there's a reason I played all three sports and I was very good. If I was smart, I'd be a professional baseball player still. But I just didn't love it. It's like, man, there's nothing fun about playing baseball sitting on grass. Like, I love it, but yeah, 3 hours in the rain.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
But yeah, no, like, yeah, ever since then, and I'll never forget it because it was either that day or that week. My parents, it's like the go-to story for my parents, right? We were in like a Safeway or something, and my dad, I think, had football practice that week. I was about to, and my dad was teaching me how to tackle. And all of a sudden, my mom was like, I just see you backing up out of this alley, or out of the aisle, back up out of the aisle, and boom, take off down the aisle, and all you hear is, ah! From some mom, because I just leveled her fucking kid, just straight tackled.
Oh no, really?
You had the right phone.
Oh wow.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't. And the funny part of that is I remember my dad like teaching me how to tackle in the yard, but I don't remember that.
Yeah.
And I know that was after.
Yeah.
That was just the funny thing about the memory. But yeah, my mom was like sitting there apologizing for everything. And my dad, and she's just like, and all I hear is your dad just trying not to laugh behind her, just like, I remember getting like high fived and stuff like later at home. But it's like I remember everything except the tackle, right? And I was like, I remember it through the story now, but yeah, no. Basically, ever since then, to my son getting born, that was a crazy story too, man. My retirement story. We should maybe take a quick little intermission really quick.